So I'm back to close a loop on my experience of doing 6 personal training sessions at the gym. So in this video, what I'm going to share is all the things that I learned from that experience and what the results were over a period of 2 weeks. So I learned some different things that I've been able to take into my experience moving forward. And the 2 most important things that I learned was that, number 1, I don't need to push myself to a 10 out of 10 intensity. That's something that I thought that I had to do to get results. So previously, when I was going by myself, I was using those machines that tell you what to do basically on them. And I was doing 25 reps in a row. And I learned from this personal training session to do 3 reps of 12 at more of a 7 or 8 intensity. So that's something that I am working with now. I also learned proper form. So there's using the free weights, for example. I don't know if I'm going to use them now, because when I got trained in this separate little room where I felt safe and comfortable. But when I got back to the gym by myself and it was full of all these guys and all these really experienced people using the weights, I just didn't really feel comfortable going over there. So I don't know. When I was with the trainer, the first time we went there, it was chill, right? Because he was there. But when he wasn't there, I didn't feel that sense of safety anymore. So I went back to the machines. However, I do now know how to use those weights. So maybe on a quieter night, I will feel more comfortable and get myself over there and do a little bit of it to make sure that I don't forget how to have the proper form. What I found the most valuable was that I learned that I can do squats. So over the last year, I have been really struggling with my knee. A couple years prior, it was kind of on and off. And then last year, it just settled into this chronic issue. And previous to going to the gym, I had seen some different workout videos that made suggestions to do squats and things like that. And I would try just a little bit and it hurt. And I felt like it was going to make it worse. But I discovered that actually it's not going to make it worse. It actually made it better. So I really got to learn that a lot of the problems that we have, pain in our body, is not necessarily due to overuse, but more due to underuse and a lack of muscle from years of just not doing anything physical, right? So for myself, I haven't done any sports since I was in high school when I played soccer. So and I haven't been somebody who goes to the gym. So I just really had no way of keeping my muscle mass optimized, and also sitting at the computer a lot with my knees bent. So over the years, it took till my late 40s before that kicked in, and it did kick in. So if you're young and you're watching this, you start feeling anything going on in your body that suggests weakness, those are symptoms of your body speaking to you, telling you that something is out of balance and it needs to be addressed. So the sooner you actually address it, the better. Because, once that goes off, then that's the next thing, right? So, that's something that I really feel strongly about now, because when I lost weight, I didn't really care about my muscle mass, because when I became obese, I was in my mid-30s. And I just didn't really think about it. I was just so uncomfortable with being obese that all I cared about was get this fat off my body. But when you do that and you don't actually focus on your muscle mass, then not only because as we age, we lose muscle mass, but because oftentimes when people are dieting and going through intense weight loss, they're often losing muscle mass because of that, right? So for myself, although I wasn't dieting in the conventional sense, and I had increased my protein because I had been a vegetarian and I switched to incorporating animal foods in my diet, I was doing better than I was with protein than when I was a vegetarian. But I didn't prioritize it that early, right? Like it was more in my mid 40s, I would say, that I started to really like understand, like, oh, wait, I really need to focus on this muscle mass thing here, because that's essential for like optimal hormone balance, and then all the benefits that having strong muscles for us as we age just wasn't apparent to me until I was in my mid 40s. So this initial weight loss that I had happened between the age of 36 and 40. And yeah, so I'm 49 now. And at basically by this point, until like recording this video series, which has been inspired by me not only gaining some weight, but also just going, okay, it's enough with this knee thing. Like I got to figure this out. I originally just did not care about anything other than like, I just don't want to be like obese. So now I'm like not obese, but I'm slightly outside of the window of being my like the BMI normal weight. So now I'm thinking differently than I thought when I was like in my mid 30s, right? I'm thinking, okay, I need to lose a few pounds, but it's actually the bigger issue is that I'm losing muscle mass and I'm flabby, right? So, you know, even at my lower weight of, you know, when I was 40, let's say, and I was like 130 pounds, I still looked flabby when I was in a bathing suit or naked. So I noticed this a lot earlier, but I don't know, like I just didn't put any energy into it. I was just like relieved to not be obese anymore. But now I'm at the age where like you got to do something about it, or, you know, it's just like downhill, right? So that's what's happening right now. I'm shifting that. So learning that I could do squats was really amazing. And after I finished the 6 training sessions, I actually took a week off of going to the gym because I got sick. And I'll get back to that in a second. But after a week of like doing nothing from being sick, I then did squats in my own house. And I was like, wow, like I felt a lot stronger. Like I felt like I was doing squats even better than when I had been doing it 3 times a week when I did those 2 weeks at the gym. So that rest, I think, really like recuperated and rebuilt my muscles. So I felt extra strong. So that was really cool. So I love this because now I know that I can keep working in that way and not hurt myself. And that's actually making my muscles stronger and healthier. So I would say, like, honestly, my biggest takeaway from this is that I could do squats, like mostly not just because it doesn't hurt and it's actually making my knee better. But also because I just hated it. Like it was like so uncomfortable, and I just felt like weak and like I could never really feel good doing that, or strong doing that. And I don't know, I think this is like a theme with me with physical things, is like if I'm not good at it right away, then like I hate it. Like I don't want to do it. And I think it might be because when I was a kid, I was just a natural athlete. Like everything I tried sports wise, I could do, and it was easy for me. And so I think like as I got older and that was not the case anymore, I just suddenly had an aversion to fitness. Like I even like when I was, after having babies, like before having babies, I remember going skiing and like loving it and thinking it was so much fun and being really good at it naturally and with minimal exposure, right? Like I grew up in Manitoba on the flat prairies, minimal exposure to skiing, just went a couple times and just like picked it up, no problem. Then after I had my daughter and my son, I went skiing and accidentally went down a black diamond and literally thought I was gonna die. And I just felt so like off kilter. I just didn't feel like in control of my body anymore, if that makes sense. Like my center of gravity was off or something. Like I didn't know how to control this body and just make it do what I wanted it to do anymore. And so I don't know, I just like lost all interest in like sporty physical activities. So I've just been this like person who, you know, it's been easy for me to eat healthy. That those changes have been pretty easy, but the fitness side of things has just never been something. And I mean, even with my weight loss program where I help other people lose weight without dieting, it's always kind of been like, at first it was like without exercise, right? And then I was like, I need to change that, because even though I did lose all that weight without exercise, the more I learned about the benefits of muscle mass, I was like, okay, well, I need to actually like change it to exercise is optional. Now, the reason why I didn't want to like that, I personally don't focus on that in my own personal nutritional practice where I help people lose weight without dieting, is number one, because I don't know what I'm doing. I can't teach you fitness, right? So that's not something I do, right? Like I recommend that you work with me if you want to do the food side of things, but if you want to like restore your muscle mass and do a full body recomposition, you need to find a trainer because they know what they're doing. But what I really like, where that came from is me saying like, you know, first of all, without exercise, it's true. That's true. You can lose weight without exercise. And then switching to exercise is optional is because while it's ideal to incorporate the right kind of exercise, right? Like you don't want to over exercise, and I'll get to that in a second. That it's really, really important to not stop yourself from getting started on your journey to natural weight loss without dieting because you think that exercise is essential and you hate exercise, right? Because I was there myself. Like if I was told that I would have had to exercise when I was obese in order to get to where I'm at now, I would have just been like, I can't do it. Like I remember thinking like, I don't want to count calories and I don't want to live at the gym. Like that's not the life I want. So I was like, until I figured out what to do, I was like, shit, like maybe I should just like accept being fat because I don't want to do those things. If that's what it requires to have, you know, an optimal body weight and shape, if it requires counting calories and it requires exercise, living at the gym, I don't want to do it. So I think that even if you can't get your head around the idea of like exercise and a body recomposition, you can still actually do all the healthy things with your diet that are possible to lose weight instead of putting off your weight loss journey because you don't want to exercise. Just start with food, right? Because actually, if you can get your body healthier, which you can do with food, over time, you're going to be actually less resistant to exercise because you're just feeling better and you have more energy. Yeah. So anyways, I just wanted to talk about that because that's sort of been an interesting evolution of my own journey with my body shape, weight, excess, etc. So back to this idea of over exercising. So actually, one of the reasons I got sick, I believe, is because those 2 weeks when I went to the gym, 3 training sessions for those 2 weeks was a stress on my body. Like it, as much as the workouts weren't a stress, like I feel like the trainer did an excellent job. He did not overtrain me in any sense of the word. Like I wasn't overextended in the physical side of it, but I was overextended in my own like calendar, right? Like I had way too many things on my plate. Then I had to get to these sessions at 8:00 at night and it burnt me out. So I finished those 6 sessions and then the next week I couldn't go at all because I literally got sick, had a fever, and, you know, needed to take time off to rest. So that's an example of overdoing something and it leading to negative results and then having to stop altogether. sometimes people get that from other reasons, like actually exercising too hard and burning out from that. So I'm just getting clear that that's not what did it. It was the having to be there at a certain time, and like it's just another stress in my life. So basically, now where I'm at is that I'm going, but my goal is to go 2 sessions a week. And if I want to go a third time, then that's fine. But my goal is just to go twice a week. And I'm planning to go on the days when I can take a nap so that I don't have that feeling of like go from morning till night. So on Monday afternoons, I don't have school, so I can have a nap and then go to work and then go to the gym. And then, not have that feeling of like burnout from, school, work, gym, all these things. And then also Thursday evening, I have school in the afternoon, but I can have a nap after school and then go to the gym. So that's a good time for me to go. So that's my plan right now. I just think that's something that if I can preemptively give my body extra rest, then I can tolerate doing that, because it's also affected my sleep. Not that I can't sleep, but I'm a little bit wired after going to the gym. I feel like, I want to stay up, I want to do stuff, right? So then I'm staying up till midnight, and sometimes like it was like 12:30 because I didn't want to go to sleep. So that's really interrupting my schedule. So I'm really trying to find the right flow with this, because if it becomes something that creates more cortisol in my body, then that is antagonistic to building muscle, right? It's also excess cortisol will trigger insulin, which is the fat storage hormone as well. So yeah, I have to really figure this out. So this is part of the journey, figuring out how I make this work in the next 3 months while I'm still in school full time. There's a part of me that's like, oh, you should wait till you're done school. But it's like, there's also never a good time, right, for anything. So I'm just trying to figure this out with working with what I have right now. So that's where I'm at. So to finish, I'm going to share with you my results, because the one thing they didn't do with me is they didn't, at first they had me like step on this scale to do all this body like assessment, but they didn't like actually weigh me or do the whole scanning thing after, which is interesting. And I don't know if it was because I didn't sign up for the package or what, but anyways, he said like in a couple of months he wanted to see me and do it. So I don't know, like if it's like a plan. But yeah, who knows what the method is there. Cause I when they enrolled me in the package, they said like, this was a big thing that they were going to use that and it was going to be like so helpful, but they didn't reuse it. Like they didn't measure me before, and they measured me before, but not after. So not sure, but I have the Body Hume at my own house that I bought, my own Body Hume scale, which does the scan as well. And so after the 2 weeks, I actually do know, the difference. So in that time of just 2 weeks, I lost 1.5 pounds of weight and gained 6 ounces of muscle mass. So that's cool. And that's exactly why I bought that scale, is because I wanted to see my muscle mass improvements. Like I wanted to see the body composition, not just the weight on the scale, because the focus is the gaining the muscle mass. So that was quite interesting. Now, in that time period, like I gained some muscle mass and I didn't really lose much in terms of pounds on the scale. Interestingly enough, after a week of not going to the gym and doing nothing, and then I weighed myself after that, and then I went from because when I was at the gym, I was going up from 152, 153, 151, 152, 53. I was just doing that like crazy. Then I took a week off the gym, and then this morning I was 148 pounds. So that's another interesting thing, right? Is like that, when we just like can like decompress and relax, our body can actually go into fat burning mode because it's not dealing with all this excess cortisol. So that's interesting. It's one of the things that's been a real benefit for me as somebody who is willing to be really patient with my body and is not expecting instant results. This is how I did it when I went from obese, like from 176 pounds down to like 130, down to even as low as 125 pounds, is because I didn't force anything, but I still looked at the scale to see like what was happening and like what was causing it to go up, what was causing it to go down. Like I really like made an experiment on myself, and it literally took 3 years to do that, right? Like a lot of people get really frustrated when they don't lose weight fast. Like a lot of people would not be happy about it and would quit or try like another diet. But I didn't. I literally just like kept present to like what was working and what wasn't working with my body through all that. So I really got to see the nuances of like, how does a body lose weight naturally? And like, what are the things that impact it? Because I was really paying attention, like really tracking things in that sense against what I was doing and what the scale was saying. And really watching for like, okay, some things are the result of like releasing weight because of reducing stress, or like dropping water, or gaining weight from gaining water, for example. Or because sometimes when we're just in a state of inflammation, we hold on to water, right? So I was just kind of able to see like all these things and just not get really attached to things. So over the past, it's like basically since I realized, like if you see the first video I did in this series and I explain what happened over the past like 6 months or so with me going off the rails with thinking I could just reintroduce carbohydrates into my diet, like starchy carbohydrates, like bread and things like that into my life, like a sandwich and things. Like I don't normally eat that. Like I literally, my kitchen is stocked with, my only carbs I have are non-starchy vegetables. Like I don't eat bread, I don't eat legumes, like I don't eat these things except for like if I go out or if I'm like at someone else's place, like at a restaurant, whatever, then of course I'll eat it. But typically I cook at home, so I'm not exposed to it that much. And over the past 6 months, there was quite a few sandwiches sneaking into my day, like almost every single day in school, just off the rails. And I could feel myself gaining weight, but I didn't have a scale, so I didn't know. And then I did pet sit and I got on the scale and it was like 156 pounds. And I was like, oh shit, like in all these 10 years, I've never let it get to that. Like the most I ever got up after getting down below 150 was up to 149. So I was kind of shocked to see 156. Like I hadn't seen that number in almost 10 years. So anyways, so today I'm 148. So that's 2 months. So it took 2 months to lose 8 pounds. No counting calories, no dieting, literally just going back to how I normally eat, which is a high fat, protein centered diet that is all my carbs coming from non-starchy vegetables, lower carb things, right? That's just how I eat. So I just went back to how I ate and I lost 8 pounds in 2 months. So that's it, right? Like it doesn't have to be that complicated, but you just have to be patient. In 2 months, could I have lost more than 8 pounds? Yeah, I could have. But if I had forced my body into that by being like excessive about exercise and cutting calories and restricting, there would be a rebound effect to that. And it would slow my metabolism down, because not only that, you're not getting the nutrition that you need from under eating, but also because of the stress of it on your body, right? That just triggers like hormonal resistance basically. So that's where I'm at. I feel relieved to be like under 150 again, because if you've ever been overweight, you know that there's always that fear, well, especially if you've been obese, there's always that fear in the back of your mind, like, ugh, like, could this ever happen to me again, right? Because when it did happen to me, it happened so fast that when I was in my mid-30s, like 2 months, right? Like I went from like just overweight, like about like where I'm at right now, maybe a little more. I was about 155 to 176 in 2 months, right? So yeah, there's always that fear in the back of my mind. And I'll tell you, like, there's a whole bunch of like mindset, like emotions, beliefs, and everything else kind of connected with all this. And I did have the fear. One of my fears when I started school was that I would gain weight, right? So here we go. I manifested it. Because it's happened before to me. It's just a pattern that I have, is when I start to get sick and tired of being like forced to continue to study things when I have other things I want to learn, even though it's stuff I like. It's just that, well, this is what I have to learn about herbs, but there's 5 other books on herbs that I'm really excited to read and I want to read and I don't have time for, right? Like that kind of thing just makes me feel like, and deadlines and things like that, I just don't like it. So I will use carbohydrates to sedate myself and to stimulate myself. So sedate myself from like the negative feelings that I'm having about being in time crunches and forced to do things. And like this, like, I don't know, it's just like, it's compression, right? And then on the other side of it, I need to be stimulated to get things done, to study all these things, right? So that's my pattern around being in school and using carbohydrates to get through that stuff, right? So some people take drugs, I take carbohydrates, right? Yeah, so anyways, that's basically how I got myself here. Here I am sharing with you my journey of getting myself out of it. But this time, not neglecting the muscle mass and focusing not so much just on like losing weight, but actually reshaping my body and getting firm and toned, and actually addressing that and including and incorporating exercise in a healthy way in this next level. My next level, that I am taking myself to the next level through this process. It's, to me, it's always like anytime you have something negative that's happening with your health, you have an opportunity to use that as a catalyst for transformation, to like up level yourself and take yourself to the next level. So it's not just like, this is just about my physical body, but this is me transforming myself from the inside out to the next level of myself. And I mean, that's the only empowering way to do it, right? Otherwise, you're a victim to your circumstances. So, you know, whether it's a health challenge like my knee, or it's like having extra body fat, this is an opportunity for me to really look at some of the things that have been holding me back in life and change it and come out the other side. Just a new, more up-leveled version of myself. And in that state, be able to create a new reality for myself. So that's what I'm doing. This is the last video in my series about working with a trainer and going to the gym for that, in that aspect. And I will just continue to take you on the journey as I incorporate other forms of movement into my regime, because that only accounts for 2 days a week. And it's really important to me in like maintaining things that I incorporate something every day as some sort of movement. So I will be continuing to share my journey in that. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.